everyone, and welcome to the People of Color Living with Diabetes Virtual Summit. My name is Quisha Umemba, your co-host and co-founder of Diversity in Diabetes. I am so excited to introduce this next organization and this dynamic duo of ladies that will be presenting their Buddy Project Helpline presentation to you. Blue Circle Diabetes Foundation exists to educate, engage, empower, and create a safe space for people with diabetes while also working on diabetes awareness and advocacy in India. I am joined today with Snehal Nandagawli, who has been living with type 1 diabetes since the past 19 years. She is also a certified diabetes educator and the Mumbai chapter lead at Blue Circle Diabetes Foundation, which is a nonprofit again working in diabetes awareness and advocacy in India. Snehal loves to read, dance, and is a lipstick lover, and she looks fabulous today in her red lipstick, I might say. She's
Thank you,
also
Krish.
joined with Nupur Lalvani, who's been living with type 1 diabetes for the past 26 years. She is also a certified diabetes educator and a certified insulin pump trainer, and she is the founder director at Blue Circle Diabetes Foundation. Nupur loves coffee and running marathons. Can you believe it? Ultra marathons. I couldn't even imagine. Again, you're in for a treat. You ladies, you can take it over from here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Quisha. And, big shout out from Snehal and I and our whole community here in India to both you ladies, Quisha and Casey. You guys are doing fabulous work. Today, we're going to present to you, Snehal and I are going to talk to you about the Buddy Project Helpline. It's a project that we run at our nonprofit called Blue Circle Diabetes Foundation in India. And we're going to tell you all about the Buddy Project Helpline and what we do at this project. So I'm going to move on to the next slide. So we created a mobile app at the NGO, and it's called the Blue Circle Diabetes app, and you can check it out on the iOS store and the Android Play Store. And on that mobile application, you will find the Buddy Project Helpline. So it's India's first mobile app-based psychosocial diabetes and mental health helpline. And as we all know, the focus on mental health while living with diabetes is dismal in most countries, and particularly in India. And as time goes by, Snehal and I will talk to you about the issues that we face and the challenges that people living with various types of diabetes face in India. So we're a volunteer-led multilingual helpline. We've got 9 dia buddies, like we call them, living with various types of diabetes. And these 9 dia buddies speak a range of 7 languages. So we've got English, Dutch, and 5 other regional Indian languages that our dia buddies speak in. It's a free helpline and it's an app-based helpline. We've been trained by the Center for Mental Health, Law and Policy, which is in Pune in India, and the Chellaram Diabetes Institute by the endocrinologist team there in basic, psychosocial and diabetes support. So Snehal and I are going to basically, continue having a conversation and, hopefully we don't bore you guys. So over to you, Snehal.
So when we decided to start this project, I would just first like to walk you all through that why we decided to launch this project and why it was so important and close to our hearts. So when Corona hit us all, we started receiving a lot of panic calls from people who were living with diabetes. Uh, there was a lot of anxiety, chaos around this unpredicted situation that everyone was living with. And there was problems in access to insulin and medical facilities. And there were a lot of people who were frustrated, annoyed, confused with what is going on, what is happening, how we as people who are living with diabetes will be affected with corona. And me and Nupur were dealing with such calls on a daily basis. And that led us to brainstorm. Like me and Nupur got on a call and we decided to see that this is an issue that we foresee, considering the pandemic situation and the access, the unavailability of access to medical facilities and doctors and availability of medical tools. And that's when we sat down with our team and we thought of how we could help to solve this issue wherein people are feeling chaotic and confused. And considering living in a developing country like India, all these facilities, when we talk about mental health and talking to a psychiatrist or a counselor, does not come cheap. And people here are also worried about the stigma that comes around with it. And that's why we didn't want to have like bring in doctors in the panel immediately. We wanted to create a peer support wherein you feel that you're talking to a friend, a buddy who also understands your situation because they are also living with diabetes. So it's not something that you are just talking to an anonymous person on the phone or on video, and you feel that you are just rambling about your issues and you feel that the person in front of you doesn't understand your issues. So it was very important for us to um, get together such people whom we refer to as diabuddies in the Buddy Project Helpline. So these people have been living with diabetes for more than 7 or 8 years, and they have their lived experiences with them, and most of them are like undergoing their diabetes certification course as well. And we didn't just want it to be like a layman's a program wherein you are just talking to random people. And that's when me and Nupur thought of that we should have some sort of a training program wherein we should be able to help people regarding issues about diabetes as well as mental health, because these two topics separately themselves are very huge. There are a lot of aspects that they cover. And that's when we reached out to Chellaram Diabetes Institute, which is based in Pune, India. And we were trained by their team of endocrinologists to handle some small issues that people living with diabetes. At times what happens is, even if you feel like that my question is like very silly, it's very small, how do I go to a doctor to ask this question? So these are the sort of questions that we are here to answer, and we are here to fill that gap where the patient might feel a little concerned, little worried of going to the doctor immediately. And for training regarding mental health issues, we had a training from the Center for Mental Health Law and Policy, which is again based in Pune. And we underwent a training program for a week or so, which was very intense. All of us were like on our toes with taking notes and everything. And that's how we came about and started this project.
Thank you, Snehal. I pick up one thing from what Snehal said and highlight that. So Snehal talked about how, things are expensive in the sense that costs of meeting doctors or mental health experts, psychiatrists or psychologists is very expensive. And here in India, we understand that the US has an insurance model, and healthcare is completely different. But here in India, we pay out of pocket for everything. So right from lancets to insulin pumps and strips, doctor visits, everything is self-funded. So this makes it all the more complicated, because each time, like Snehal mentioned, even if you have a tiny doubt, and we all know we have like a gazillion doubts when we're newly diagnosed, especially. So with all of these things, all you need is a little hand holding, a little peer support, another buddy, and that's really what we aim to provide. And we're happy to work with or to collaborate with anyone around the world, and sort of help them replicate this model that we have here in India. Because I truly think that one of the best things that happened to me as a person with type 1 diabetes was to find a community and make friends and meet friends. Snehal and I luckily know each other because of diabetes, and and my life is so much richer knowing her. So I think it's incredible to be able to share your joys and sorrows and concerns with another buddy.
And at times, I think living with a chronic condition like diabetes, which requires 24/7 support, and it takes a lot of your mental space, even with physical space, or mental space is something that is an aspect which is highly neglected by both the patients, the family, the doctors. And we may not understand its importance unless and until it just blows up one day. And knowing that we have the support of a community or a friend who is also living with a condition that you yourself are living with, I think that is something that builds a bond, that builds a connect, and you can talk with them freely about all your issues. And I think living with diabetes, like I've been living with diabetes for 19 years, so I know that it's not simply just about knowing what to do and what not to do. It's about learning and relearning again and again. Because at times, if you're stressed and you know what you're supposed to do, if you're in a hypo or a hyper, but if you're stressed, then at those times you may not remember what to do. So at that times, I usually call up Nupur, or like I take the help of the Buddy Project helpline, and I go and talk to someone and I relearn these concepts again. And I think that is something that keeps us on track in terms of managing diabetes and keeping your mental health safe and sound.
Absolutely. And oftentimes the things that Snehal and I or our other buddies, you can see, in fact, you can see all of them here on the screen, the photographs of all our dia buddies. These are 9 people that speak 7 languages. Incidentally, one of our dia buddies is also, based in the US. So even though we're worlds apart, and we're not we don't live close to each other, a lot of us from the team haven't physically met. So that explains the extent of the bond that the buddies have among themselves, and I think that translates into how we speak to the people who call us and who speak to us on the helpline as well. There are so many things that annoy you as a person with diabetes, and I think one of the things that really gets me is the unsolicited advice that people are always willing to give, right? What is
True.
Snehal?
Absolutely. And at
Yeah.
times you just wonder, like, should I tell them what the issue is or should I just let it be? But you cannot deny the fact that it annoys you and it frustrates you when people who don't know anything about diabetes try to explain you things and the way that they have just heard from somewhere.
And the worst part is, I mean, I think Snehal and I are now like, we're like warrior girls, warrior princesses, because we're prepared. I mean, you come to us and we're going to punch you. But a lot of people that are newly diagnosed, or people that don't have buddies, I mean, they're really out there. They're alone. They don't know how to manage this whole onslaught of, people coming and saying, hey, listen, have you tried cinnamon? Okra is really good, or whatever. But and here in India, very recently, a couple of months ago, there's a very renowned yoga guru, and he claims that he can cure any type of diabetes, including type 1 diabetes. So this is really what we are up against. People in power, people who are rich and famous, they ought to have a sense of responsibility. And when our friends who are newly diagnosed, they go in for these treatments or these camps, we're really scared for them, because there's only so much we can do, and so far we can convince them. But the beauty is that with the community and with the helpline, there's a lot a lot of people we've been able to reach out to. So Snehal and I are from big cities in India, and the rest of India, a lot of the smaller towns and villages, people, the awareness is really lacking. People don't have the access to information. They don't have the access to tools. A lot of doctors don't know what an insulin pump looks like. It's not all bad, but we just want to highlight to you that there are a whole different set of problems that happen in a different part of the world. And really, this is what we're up against, and this is why we have the helpline. Because like Snehal mentioned, we received a lot of calls from people that were having, like, panic attacks and breakdowns, and there's only so much you can sort of talk to them over the phone and help them. So this is really what led to the creation of the helpline, and now it's been a year and a half.
And also, we sometimes forget that most of our issues or the worries that we have, they seem to lessen up if we just talk about it to someone. And that is, I think, one of the concepts that we were trying to use. Like, even if you just talk it out, you share it with someone who understands you, from whom you feel that connect and bond, I think even half the worries, you will be like, you feel like a little lessened up, and you feel a little less stressed out about it. And before
Absolutely.
we move on to more about the Buddy project and other things about it, we would just like to highlight of certain issues that we commonly see in India regarding diabetes and mental health both.
Yes. One of the things is, of course, the access being a problem, which we touched upon. The second thing is the stigma, I mean, hey, we're in 2021, I understand if maybe 20, 30 years ago, there was a lot more stigma, but I see in my experience of living with type 1 diabetes for 26 years now, that a lot has not changed. We've changed as individuals, we've grown, we've evolved, we've taken people along with us, and helped them, and we've received help as well, but things really haven't changed. There's a huge stigma, not just with diabetes, but also with mental health. And I think combined, both of these things are really a burden on anybody living with the condition. So whether it's type 1 or type 2, or LADA or MODI or gestational diabetes, we've got callers from all corners of the country. We've got callers talking about all sorts of issues. And it's not just the person, it's also the family that's then very closely involved. It's parents, it's partners, it's friends, it's your social circle. By the time people really get their things together and are ready, a lot of years have passed. So I think stigma is another really, really big issue that we face here.
Absolutely right. And along with stigma, like, let's just assume that you are able to survive that and you decide that you want to take consultation or you want to undergo counseling. Finding the right doctor is something which I have personally dealt with. Finding the right doctor whom you can gel out with, whom you feel is empathetic towards your situation, is really difficult. And I personally, the first counselor that I met, I wasn't able to feel that he was understanding my issues, or I could feel comfortable talking about my issues with them. And most of the times, even doctors need to be a little empathetic towards the patient. And most of the counseling work is not the doctor giving you the solution for your problems. It's basically making you in a sound state of mind wherein you can decide for yourself and take the right decision, and you're able to control your reaction to any situation. I think that is the way that I have learned. And finding the right doctor somewhere is a very big aspect of it. Like, if you feel that, so I have had friends who have seen 4 or 5 counselors and they were not able to adjust to them, and that again becomes something that you then become afraid of it, and you don't want to then go and talk to your about your issues to several other people as well. So I think finding the right doctor, finding that right connect with your doctor is also important.
Correct. And each time you see a counselor or a doctor, it sets you back financially as well. So there's only so much you can experiment and try out before you get frustrated or you run out of funds. So I also want to highlight that the URL that you see on the page here is where you can see a short bio of each buddy. So if you're interested to look at who the buddies are, feel free to type in the URL into your Google Chrome, or your web, and you can look at it. So I'll move on to the next slide then, Snehal.
Yes.
Yes. So this is I think continuing what we were talking about. We were brainstorming, Snehal and I, and we felt that these are the top 3 issues and major challenges with regards to mental health. And actually, as I speak, I'm realizing that these are the exact same challenges with living with diabetes as well, right?
True.
Yeah, it's all of this together, and there are certain things which would help to speak to to speak to your community, to speak to your friends, but there are certain things you can't do much about, such as the costs or the stigma. You can change yourself, but I think it also becomes our responsibility to then create awareness and talk to people. And I'd like to give a small example here about how so people in India, getting married is a big deal, is a major life event. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's like that around the world, but in India, a lot of people, they have what is called arranged marriages, meaning that your parents look for a partner for you, and they set you up, and then you meet your partner a couple of times, and the families get you married. So that's generally how it works. Of course, there are exceptions, there are many exceptions, but this is generally how it works. And Snehal and I receive a lot of people, requests from a lot of people, not just parents of kids, but people, adults themselves, who approach us for help in finding a partner. We're literally their family now, right? Because they've tried
Absolutely.
every solution that that they could think about, and they've come to us now. Hey, listen, help me find a partner, please. You really need to help me. So we also then have to counsel them. We've started a little sort of thread on our, so we have a Facebook community as well. It's called Diabetes Support Network India, and we have a little a thread there called the marriage thread. And if you scroll through, you'll see you'll see young people introducing themselves and putting themselves out there, and it's sort of like a little bit of a I don't know, like a dating platform, or a platform for people to be able to find a partner to get married. And these are things that bog them down mentally as well. They feel like they're not good enough, they feel like they're not worthy of love, of a partner itself. So this is another huge challenge.
And with the marriage thread that we started in the community, like the Facebook community, it has received immense love and support from everyone. And like Nupur said, that everyone out there who wants to find a suitable partner for themselves, they are leaving small bio about them, and hopefully something comes out of it, and we'll be more than happy to support them as well. But I think marriage and it's something, marriage and other aspect of is like getting jobs, because in India, diabetes is not considered as a disability. So if you go on a job interview and maybe they do not want anyone with diabetes or any other physical disabilities out there, and this is something that we are pushing with the government of India to mark diabetes as a disability, because then that can help people who are looking for jobs. And if there are any um, unlawful events wherein they are removed from a job because of diabetes, that could be something that could be taken up with the law and dealt accordingly. But since diabetes is not marked as a disability in India, there are a whole set of issues that come across. And we receive calls from people who are not even able to sit for an interview just because they have diabetes. And that is something that feels like my heart breaks down for them, because we know that there are companies who are very open and they accept people with all disabilities out there, but we cannot deny the fact that there are companies who won't even allow you to sit for an interview. They will not even judge your talent, but just because you have diabetes, you are not even allowed to go for an interview. That is something that literally breaks my heart, to see talented people who have studied hard and like reached a stage where they are able to work, and they are not getting jobs simply because they have diabetes. And we have been pushing really hard so that we can mark diabetes as a disability in India, so that issues regarding jobs is something that I personally feel that no one has to feel left out because they have a physical condition.
Correct, absolutely. And see, this also reminds me of another incident that happened. I think this was 3 years ago. A little girl from my city, their parents reached out to us and they said, the girl is not, the school is denying admission to the child. And the basis of, denying admission was that the child lives with type 1 diabetes. I mean, that's nuts. How are we even, how are things going to develop? How are people going to understand that people or kids living with type 1 diabetes or adults with type 1 diabetes can have absolutely normal school and university lives, and a great job, and they can be performing well, if they're not allowed entry. And I mean, this is an educational institute. How can you not let the kid in just because he or she has type 1 diabetes? So there's a lot that needs to be achieved, and we really, this is the advocacy that we do. We are more than happy to go and speak to the principals at schools, we're more than happy. In fact, we've Snehal and I and the rest of our team, we also create these we do these sessions at government schools, at public private schools, where we go to the school, we talk to the students, we talk to the teachers, we talk to the staff, and we tell them about not just type 1 but the various types of diabetes and how they can keep themselves healthy. This is in the light of the fact that India is a world leader in diabetes, unfortunately, and we have almost 80 million people living with various types of diabetes. So I think the mantra should really be to catch them young, and to speak to them when they're younger. Of course, people who already have type 1 diabetes, the best we can do is have a supportive community, and create a comfortable environment for them. But for the rest of them, we see a lot of young kids being diagnosed with PCOS and type 2 diabetes as well. So this is something that we really want to take head on, and challenge, and get these kids out there and get them in better health and in better shape.
And most of it is not just because lack of information. There are a lot of challenges regarding awareness as well. Like, since me and Nupur have been living with type 1 diabetes, we are very well aware of the symptoms of when diabetes is diagnosed. But these symptoms are like, even if you do a basic Google search on symptoms of diabetes, there will be those same 3 or 4 symptoms that show up. But if someone doesn't know the symptoms, and this most often than not leads to late diagnosis of diabetes, that could lead to serious health conditions also. And what Nupur just said is, like, when we do this awareness programs in schools and corporates, we also do like a basic screening test, where people from different companies, they are present there to test their blood sugars. And shockingly, we have seen a lot of undiagnosed diabetes cases as well. Like, people, when we talk to them, and when the blood sugars are tested, we saw a huge number, like let's say 250, 300. And then then we suggest them to go ahead and do an HbA1c. And then we know that this person has been having diabetes since more than a year or so. We have had such cases as well. And they are not even aware about it because they have never thought of seeing those symptoms as symptoms of diabetes or any sort of a physical condition. So, like Nupur said, like, India is unfortunately the world leader in diabetes, and the numbers could increase more because there could be a lot of such cases where the diabetes is undiagnosed, and people here do not even go for a regular health checkup, let's say once in a year or biannually, because of which cases of undiagnosed diabetes are increasing. And during the COVID times, because people are worried that they may have contracted COVID, they are undergoing this blood tests, and that is when they come to know that they have had diabetes for so long. And that could lead to serious complications as well if you're talking about living with diabetes as well as COVID. And me and Nupur have seen so many cases of people coming to us saying that they have been diagnosed with diabetes with HbA1c of 11 or 12, and they were not even aware of it, that these symptoms were the symptoms of diabetes, and then they could have managed it in a better way if they were diagnosed beforehand. So I think
Yeah.
awareness is something which is, I feel, is a little bit lacking, not even like when we talk about people, but also in terms of doctors. Because I would just like to give a small insight about when I was diagnosed, which was 19 years ago. And my doctor was luckily aware that there is something called as type 1 diabetes. But I could see that there was such a resistance from the other doctors that a young child, like 11-year-old kid, cannot have diabetes. It is impossible. But luckily, my doctor pushed us and said that you should get a blood glucose test done. And when the reports came, everyone was shocked. Everyone was like, this is impossible. But even the healthcare system needs to be updated. The doctors need to be aware that there is something called as type 1 diabetes, and young children can also be affected by that. And like Nupur rightly said, that the lines between type 1 and type 2 diabetes are like very blurred now. We have, so type 1 diabetes is not just for kids now. We have kids who are 11 or 12 years old and they have been diagnosed with type 2 as well. So these lines are like slowly blurring out, slowly diminishing. And I think majority of it is because of the lifestyle that we live. It's very sedentary. There's no workout. We eat outside food, junk food all the time. And this is what we plan to like head on attack this thing, and like uh, instill this idea that even like following simple steps in your daily routine could prevent diabetes as well as other complications as well.
Correct. And that also reminds me that in India, 1 in 5 women have PCOS, and we all know PCOS and diabetes, type 2 diabetes is so closely linked. Insulin resistance and PCOS, and we see kids these days, and we go to schools and we conduct these online workshops, and that's part of the reason that led us also to start another project called the Project Gaia, where we talk about women's health. But I suppose more on that later, and I'll move to the next slide now. So this is a snapshot of our buddy project page on our website. Our website is bluecircle.foundation, so you can check that out. And there are videos in a couple of languages on this page that explain to people how to book a call in case they have questions.
And we also decided to put a small bio about each diabuddy out there, because we know that the diabetes community in India is very big, and we may be a few people who are trying to create awareness, and people may not feel comfortable immediately talking to us about their issues. So we have put like a fun 1 or 2 liners about who this person is, how long they have had diabetes, what they do in their personal lives, and a little bit of like hobbies and like something fun about them, so that people who like first time land on this page, they are able to scroll through and they can find out whom they feel connected to, and then they can accordingly book a buddy call with them.
Correct. I will move to the next slide, and here on the screen you see a snapshot of the Blue Circle Diabetes app. So this is my app screen, and on the top it mentions my name and type of diabetes, and on the background you'll also see your time and range. So coming back to the buddy project, when you click on the menu button, you'll see a whole list of points here. And if you click on buddy project, it opens up the helpline for you. So it's a very simple 3-step way to access the helpline. And of course, another thing I want to say is that this is not the helpline. The reason that it's on the app, one is that we want to encourage the use of technology and mobile apps, for people to record their blood glucose and pull out reports and really analyze, not just with their doctors but also with themselves and their parents or their families. So that is one of the major reasons. And also any concerns that people have, if they have any immediate concerns, if they have a medical emergency, or if they have a mental health related emergency, they definitely need to reach out to their medical providers. So we do not replace doctors or your therapists. We are just here, as like Snehal mentioned, we're a peer support system. We're here to be there for you. And so this is step 1 on how to schedule a call. And here is step 2. Snehal can talk about it.
So like Nupur said, it's a very easy process, 1, 2, 3, and you're done. So you just have to open the buddy diabetes app, Blue Circle Diabetes app, and on the settings, on the menu over there, you find the buddy project, which we saw on the first step. The second step, like I said, there's a small bio of one of the diabuddies that we have. And if you want to schedule a call with them, you can just click on the schedule session. Once you do that, there will be a calendar of the slots wherein the buddy is available, and that slots are that you can see those slots, and as per your timing which you find convenient, you can click on that slot and your buddy call is booked. And it's as easy as that. And once you book it, you will immediately receive an email from Blue Circle Diabetes Foundation, wherein you also have the option to add that meeting to your Google Calendars. And we have also added a notification feature, because let's say you have booked a call 2 days from now and you forget about it. So just 10 minutes before your scheduled buddy call, you will get a notification on your mobile that your buddy call is scheduled. And I think that has been one of the features that was suggested to us by the community, saying that maybe at times we forget that the buddy call is scheduled. And so as we respect each other's time, the time of the person who is wanting to schedule the call, as well as the time of the diabuddies, we decided to add this feature of the notification wherein before the buddy call, 10 to 15 minutes before your buddy call, you receive a notification, a pop-up that shows up on your mobile, and you are quickly reminded that you have a buddy call due for in the next 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's and I think that's the beauty of of being a part of the community. We've received some fabulous feedback from real users, of course, like like you and me, people like us living with diabetes, their families, their parents, their spouses, people who suggest ideas to us about how we can improve the app, and we actually do have a tab on the on the mobile app as well that says, "Do you have an idea?" and tell us your idea. And we've implemented a bunch of these ideas, and one, that makes the app so much better, and two, that I think that really fosters a sense of community, of really improving something that we all co-created. So all of our beta testers have been people living with diabetes. I think there were 6 or 8 people. This was about a year and a half or 2 years ago, and each one of them were people that live with diabetes and that actually used the app and tested it, and rigorously came back to us and told us, "Hey, listen, I think this needs to be better, or I've seen a better feature in another app." So that really makes it so much, it really polishes the diamond, like one would say. So on the screen here, you can also you see Rohan's bio written in English and in Hindi, which is another language. So depending on how many languages the buddy speaks, we also have it mentioned below their names. And to go onto the buddy call, you just, like Snehal mentioned, head to the meetings tab and join the call. And I'm now going to show you step 3. So you schedule a call first through the second tab, and then when you get a reminder, and I think I always need a reminder, because there are so many things going on, and everyone's so busy with their lives. So this is a snapshot of somebody who scheduled a buddy call with me. So I went to meetings under my, under the buddy project helpline. So this is my name. This is the buddy's name. My name is Nupur, and this is the date and time for when the call was scheduled. So if somebody would like to reschedule a call, or if someone would like to cancel a call for some reason, maybe they've got help already and they don't need help anymore, they need to just press the edit button. You see the blue button there on the screen. Click the edit button and reschedule it or cancel it, or if it's the time and the date for your call, press the red button and join the call. So another awesome thing that I want to highlight is that so Snehal works in the US time zone, and we're here in India, and Snehal is up in the middle of the night working her job, and while the rest of us are sleeping. So we literally among all of us Dia buddies, we cover almost 24 hours of the day, almost 24 hours, and 7 days of the week. So everyone is free at some point in the day or in the week, and we put up our calendar slots, and like Snehal explained to you, people can scroll through and can see who's available, whether they want to talk immediately or whether they want to schedule a call in the future. So this is how we do it. Moving on to
All you need to access the buddy project helpline is internet. Like, you don't need to spend money, or you don't need to have any fancy equipment or gadgets. You just need your mobile phone with Wi-Fi or internet connectivity, and there you are done. You just need to schedule a call, and one of the diabetes will be available to help you, or like to listen to you for whatever issues that you have.
Correct. So, like on the previous slide, when you guys saw that when you press the edit button, it takes you to this page, and it's really, really simple. The red button that says cancel. Once you click the red button, so the mentor and the mentee both receive emails saying that this call has been cancelled. And if you'd like to reschedule, so for example, I'm not available on the helpline on weekends. So if someone would like to reschedule a call with me, they can go into the next available slot, which is Monday at 11:15 a.m. and then reschedule that call. And so sometimes it could be that, I want to talk to someone now because it's urgent. Okay, so you can then scroll through and see who's available, which of the buddies is available. And sometimes it could be that, hey, I want to talk to this person because, I think they will be able to guide me better and they will understand my issues. And then in that case, you can see when is a convenient time for your buddy, because all of these buddies, by the way, are volunteers. They're people who are taking out the time from their busy lives and wanting to give back to the community. So it's really, really, we really appreciate everyone's input on the Buddy Project Helpline.
And like I mentioned that you get 2 reminders, like once you book the call, immediately you get an email, and with the added facility to add the meeting to your calendar, so that you will get a notification from Google Calendars as well. And other than that, just before the buddy call, like 15 minutes before, 10 minutes before your buddy call, you get a pop-up on your mobile app saying that your buddy call with this diabetes is scheduled and you are ready for that. And like
Right.
Nupur has already mentioned that we are not here trying to replace medical advice. We are not doctors. We are trained volunteers who can help you and who can listen to your issues and concerns. But if we feel that you need to have doctors consultation, or you need to consult a therapist or a counselor, we do not shy away from letting you know that, because certain things may not be in our hands to help you with. We can just help you and listen to you and try to help with whatever lived experiences we have with diabetes. And we are nowhere here trying to replace doctors or counselors or psychiatrists. So just to highlight that once again, this is like Nupur said, it's a volunteer peer support system wherein you feel like you're talking to a friend about your issues regarding mental health or diabetes. And if we feel that it's necessary for you to consult a doctor or a therapist or a psychiatrist, we will let you know about that, and we will also help you and guide you in terms of whom you can contact or which doctor you can refer to.
Absolutely. So these are some smiley faces. So we did a mock call, to show you guys how the platform works and what it looks like. So this little girl here is a darling friend of ours, and the buddy in the smaller helpline is one of our buddies on the helpline. So this is how. So of course, there's an option to keep your video off because you may not need the video all the time. But I think really interesting calls that we've had have been on video calls too. I mean, so if it's a kid, if it's a child that I'm talking to and their parents, I make sure to ask them if they're comfortable and if they'd like to join on the video call, because I think sometimes a lot of kids in the past year or two have been diagnosed and they really haven't met another person with diabetes, so they don't know what it's like to see another person. And when they see people like us, when their parents look at us, and I think they feel a sense of how do I say, I think they feel relief and they
Sense
feel
of comfort, maybe.
yeah, exactly. I think they really do feel a sense of comfort that, okay, my child is going to be okay. My child is going to, do well. And if these girls or if these guys can, have a successful life and, be happy, so can my child.
Another fun thing I would just like to add here is like Nupur said, that we have had this video calls, and always as an option for you to keep the video off as well. But there was this one family with a child who was newly diagnosed, and the child was not feeling comfortable taking injections, the insulin shots that we take. And the entire family came on the video, and I showed them that how I take my insulin through a syringe or through a pen. And then the child felt connected. They felt that they were not alone in this, that there are people out there who are also doing the same things that they are expected to do. And after that, the child was more than happy to like self inject and be comfortable taking injection shots. So it's a lot about how the child feels, especially when we talk about children who have just been newly diagnosed. The entire family needs to come together to understand the condition and to know that life doesn't stop if you are having diabetes. You can have a fulfilling life with no health complications. You just need to monitor your blood sugars and do the basic minimum, and you will sail through. And like you can see, like me and Nupur, we are doing pretty good and living with diabetes. Like Nupur has been living with diabetes since 26 years, and she runs marathons, like ultra marathons. Like I could never even dream of it. And I know other people who think that marathons are such a big thing. And here we have Nupur, who has been living with diabetes. She's on insulin pump and she's running marathons out there. So there's nothing that you cannot do. You can do everything that your heart desires to, and you just have to take care of your blood sugars. That's all.
On a lighter note, there's one thing that I cannot do, and that is dance. But Snehal makes sure each time, pre-COVID, whenever we've gone out partying or we've gone out to a club, she makes sure to take me and dance. So, and I think that's the beauty of having a dia buddy, right? Like you go out there and do the things that are out of your comfort zone, and that really help you grow as a person and have fun and just be normal, have a normal, happy, healthy life, most importantly.
Absolutely.
So we'd also love to share the impact of the Buddy Project Helpline, and you can see here on the screen. So in 365 days, we had 1,000 plus calls, and we have now we have 7 languages that are spoken. Until a couple of weeks back, we had 9 languages that were spoken on the on the helpline. So anybody from any corner of the country is very welcome to call us and talk to us. And we do receive calls from places we haven't heard of, or places we haven't been to, small towns, small places. I recently was chatting with a parent, and they're from a small town in the state of Punjab, which is close, which is in the northern part of India, and it's close to the border. It's close to the India-Pakistan border. So this is incredible, because it's learning for them, but it's also learning for me. I get to see people from different cultures, and we're a huge country with a lot of people, and different cultures, different people, different ways of thinking. I think it really helps everyone grow, not just the mentee, but also us as mentors.
And not just India, I think we have received calls from Indians who are based abroad as well, right? So we have received calls from the US, from Asian countries like Singapore, from Australia, from New Zealand, and we receive a lot of calls from Indians who are based abroad, because Indian culture, Indian food is very different, and it's basically a little high carb when we talk about the macros of it. And living with diabetes and adjusting that sort of a diet can sometimes be an issue. So we have received calls not just from India, like Nupur mentioned, interiors of India, small towns, small villages where we haven't even heard their names of, but also received calls from people who are based internationally as well.
Absolutely. And this is again something we're very proud of and very happy of. 45,000 minutes of mentoring and hand holding people, and teaching them the basics of diabetes management, and just being a friend to them and being a buddy to them, and telling them that, hey, don't worry, we're here for you. And whenever you feel down in the dumps, or feel like you just need to rant, or you just want to share something or ask anything, just feel free to use the helpline, and feel free to talk to us and call us, and we'll be a shoulder for you to lean on or to cry on.
Absolutely right. And I think this is something that me and Nupur are personally very proud of. This has been something which has been very close to both of our hearts, to create that sort of an awareness, to build a community which is safe space for you to share your issues and concerns. And I think the video chat feature is something that I personally love, because you get to see the other person, talk them through, and like listen to them. And like we say, like it's even the silliest of the questions which you may feel are like, oh, this is so silly, how do I ask this to someone? And I had a question from someone. They had by mistake taken their bolus twice. Now what they are supposed to do? And they felt that this was an emergency situation. Like, now what should I do? Like, if will I go into a hypo? And they immediately scheduled a call, and that's when I was able to calm them down and let them know that don't worry, that you can have something. You have to keep on monitoring your blood sugars. But these are issues that people living with diabetes have on a daily basis, like something as silly as like you by mistake taking twice your shot, or you forget to take your shot, or you forget to carry your insulin with you. And in those situations, what are you supposed to do? So in even in those times, we are here as a community to help and support you, and to guide you in terms of issues regarding diabetes management or mental health.
Absolutely. That reminds me of another example. I received a call from a lady with gestational diabetes, diabetes that you have during pregnancy. And the concerns are often, they're very complex, because they're not just about diabetes, but it's also a little bit about, so the lady was telling me that my mother-in-law insists that I should eat for two, because now that I have a baby, I must eat for two. But we all know that's flawed logic, because I mean, the intention is good, and the intention is to care and take care of the daughter-in-law. But I think how it comes across and what it translates to, for her, it's important to now count her carbohydrates and to take her meds, or her insulin, and to make sure that her sugars are very tightly controlled. That takes precedence over these other sort of social or cultural grandma's tales that have been passed down from one generation to the next. So there are a lot of questions and little things that niggle the minds of people, and they feel like this is too small for me to ask the doctor. I just feel embarrassed. How can I even ask that? A lot of people tell us, I know it's the same with Snehal as well. A lot of people say this is a very stupid question, and we're like, hey, listen, there is no stupid question, just ask.
So here on the screen, we have testimonials from people who have used the Buddy Project helpline and how they have felt about it. And just to let everyone know that these calls are are confidential. The data is not shared with anyone. Even their names are not shared with anyone. So all your discussions that you have with your Diabuddy is confidential, is private, not shared across anywhere. And even in the testimonials you see, we have just mentioned the person, like who that person could be, but nowhere their name or anything that suggests who that person is given out. And we have received such a tremendous response and love and support from people who have taken the help of the Buddy Project helpline, and how they have felt about it. And you can read out the testimonials out there that uh, they could enjoy their life, eat to their heart's content, and just decide on how to count their carbs and adjust their insulin accordingly. And people who are just stressed about having T1 complications. And like Nupur said, that we have received 1,000 plus calls. That was last year, and we have now crossed almost 1 year and 7 months now. And the number of calls and the number of minutes that the mentoring and the hand holding has been there has gone up.
Yes, absolutely. So as you guys can see, we really have a wide spectrum of people, different demographics who call us. Some are type 2s, some are type 1s, some are people with a lot of years of type 1 diabetes behind them. Some are very new to the whole thing. And lots of issues. I mean, issues of mental health, issues of diabetes management, issues of sexuality, issues of pregnancy and married life, and all kinds of things. I mean, you think of a problem, and it exists, and that's the reality. And that really sometimes also makes us feel a sense of gratitude that what we have is good enough, and there's always something more that we can want, and that we might strive for, and that's fine. But there are people out there that need help, and not just financial help. We do have a project for that as well. It's called Project Isha, where we help people from economically and socially inequitable backgrounds. We help them with because India doesn't have a system where there's no insurance, there is no support from the government. There's no universal health care. There is a very limited amount of support, in terms of the older forms of insulins like R and NPH. some of those insulins are sometimes available for a little cheaper or for free through the government. Not always available, but sometimes. And the options are really limited, and then you can't tell someone, hey, listen, just be strong and stay positive. But because the problem is that it's not just about how you feel, or it's not just your attitude, or it's not just the mental health. It's also all of these other practical problems. It's also costs. It's also society. It's stigma. And I think it really sometimes we feel so overwhelmed when we talk to certain people. I just want to mention this one call that I had long back. A person living with HIV and with type 1 diabetes, and the things that they had to go through. I mean, we all know about the stigma that exists with HIV around the world, and in India in particular, and with type 1 diabetes as well. And that person is a single parent. Their marriage broke up, and I mean, there's so much that people go through, and this is a reminder for all of us to be kind to one another and to create a safe space. And that's really what we want to do at Blue Circle Diabetes Foundation as well. We in our Facebook community, which is Diabetes Support Network India, we're very, very particular about the quality of conversation that happens, because it's very easy to pull someone down or tear them down or judge their choices. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to live our lives, and we're here to support one another and be friends to people that we meet.
So yes, that was all we had to talk about the Buddy Project Helpline, which is an initiative by the Blue Circle Diabetes Foundation. And we here support people living with all types of diabetes, and we shouldn't be burned down or like feel the burden of living with diabetes or having any sort of mental conditions. And that's why we have built this project, built this app-based, volunteer-based, a Dia Buddy, a peer support group wherein we can talk to someone who understands your condition and feels empathetic towards you. And we just want everyone, like Nupur said, to be kind to each other, to support each other, help them grow, and not be bogged down with the feeling that you have diabetes and you cannot do anything else right now. With diabetes, you can do everything and anything that you wish for. Sometimes I feel I even do more than what my peers out there are doing, because I want to live my life to the fullest. And being diabetic constantly gives me that additional push that go ahead, do it. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. And other than taking care of a few things here and there about your diet and your insulin and your medications, I think everyone out there who's living with diabetes can achieve whatever they dream of. I think that would be our concluding line. And you can go ahead, take a look at the Buddy Project profile, with like Nupur had shared before, the link. And our favorite tagline, me and Nupur always say this, is stronger together. And here you can see a picture of us where we met in Pune for a 5-kilometer run. This was just before lockdown and Corona hit India. And we also have a support of our 4-legged friend over there as well, who was a part of the picture. But absolutely fun, cherished memories wherein everyone living with diabetes joined in, and we organized this marathon. And yes, we all are stronger together, and let's support each other to grow and be kind to each other.
Absolutely. From Snehal and me, big thank you to Diversity in Diabetes, for giving us this platform and giving us this opportunity to talk. And to our audience listening, thank you all so much for your patience, and thank you for listening to us.
And you can find us on any social media just by searching Blue Circle Diabetes Foundation. We are there on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Clubhouse, you name it, and we are there. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments in the chat section, and we'll be there to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you.